This is Cutting Down the Net's first video of the year. I will slowly ramp up as we get closer to March Madness, but it's good to be back. We are back. It is Wednesday, January 17th. I'm going to go game by game, the games in my pool for the year, 53.3%. I think for the last 2,000 games, I'm at like 53.5, 53.7. So always strive to be better. This year's results include an 0 for 12 burger at the end of December, which was a lot of fun if you hate money. So, yeah, that is me. So let's look at the games today. We have, I believe, a 44-game schedule. So I am sorted by the value between the point spread and my algorithm number, which I refer to as Paddy. Paddy is taking the adjusted offensive and defensive efficiencies and of the team and the opponent and producing a point spread and comparing that to the actual point spread. You also see a shot quality number in there. I'll reference that here in a little bit, and KenPom there for reference. The site I use probably the most is Bart Torvik. I'm not affiliated with Bart. I don't have like any advertising dollars or licensing dollars or anything like that. I have found him to be a helpful guy. He responded to Twitter DMs years ago and gave me access to his data. And I prefer the customization that he offers compared to KenPom and the transparency in how his numbers are produced. So typically I would look at the upcoming schedule after running my algorithm, and then I would dig into matchups of my pool and identify like which ones I think are worth playing and which ones are not. So if I click on Creighton, I'll just give an example of like how you can use this. So the adjusted offensive and defensive efficiencies, that's how I'm creating a profile for Creighton. I compare that to UConn, mash it up, get a point spread. But this site's pretty cool. You can switch venue easily and see how has Creighton done it on the road. And on the road, they've actually been pretty strong outside a hot shooting night from UNLV. Overall, they're 24th offensively, 13th defensively on the road. Compare that to their overall profile, and you'll see it's pretty consistent. So road Creighton is not as big a concern as other teams. I played one tonight, and I lost because I knew to stay away from it. But then BYU had some key injuries at the last second, and I'm like, all right, I'll bite. I'll go for it. Yeah, I'm a fool. Should have listened to myself instead of just some lineup announcements prior to the game. So here's Iowa State. This is their overall profile. Very good defensive team and okay offense. Overall, they look strong. Watch what happens when you switch this to the road. That defense jumped up to 107. Now, they've only played 3 games on the road, but 1.05 points per possession against DePaul. Hello. Road against Oklahoma, and then tonight against BYU. So, yeah, I'm a fish. Should have listened to myself, and we move on. So that's how I use Bart Torvik. Another website I will reference a lot is Shot Quality. Shot Quality, when we look at Creighton, they are top 8, a 1.22 adjusted offense, 0.94 adjusted defense. Their opponent is Connecticut, which is down here a little bit. Similar offense, but the Connecticut defense, from a shot quality perspective, far worse. So that's how I'm kind of creating the data I use. I'll walk through the games I've played, which ones I'm considering, and wish us all luck. My style, all straight bets. I don't bet any more or less on any game. I try to play a high volume, lowish dollar amount. I'm not a professional gambler. I'm an amateur gambler that I feel has an edge, and I play for primarily entertainment. Do I get mad when I lose? Yeah, but I mean, I get mad when I lose at Connect Four, so it's just how I'm wired. So looking at these games, the green games I've bet so far, yellow I'm considering, orange, something about it is keeping me away, and then gray is not in play for me. So starting with Creighton, Connecticut, my data has that closer to a possession. Paddy favoring the UConn side, Paddy median, actually slightly on the Creighton side. Shot quality, you kind of saw those rankings there, even when accounting for home road 3.5 points. Still like the Creighton side there. So with the point spread over 2 possessions, that was enough for me to say, hey, I don't know if Creighton will win this game, but that's a pretty good value for me to come within 2 possessions. Next up is the Citadel at UNC Greensboro. My data had that like 7-10, so not a huge value there. Point spread's 11.5, but KenPom had it down at 8, shot quality at 7, and the pace of this game is pretty significant in terms of being slow. I'll kind of show you how I can find that. I'll go to the upcoming games, look at tomorrow, and we'll just quickly match up that game between Citadel and UNC Greensboro. Just look at the paces here. So 305th in pace is Greensboro, 332nd is Citadel, and Citadel doesn't foul a lot. So you're not getting those extra opportunities. They can keep them off the glass. So in a slow-paced game, 11.5 points, I think can be pretty significant. So I played the Citadel. Shocker, Citadel, not very good. They're 11.5 point dogs, but these are the type of games I play. So going through the yellow, and I'll kind of give you my final pool here to wrap things up. So Colgate and Army, also a low possession game, likely around 62, 65 possessions. I didn't see any clear matchup advantages. Army hasn't played a good schedule, but they've held their own against teams in this range. It's just Army's kind of stinky. And the real problem for me is trying to decide if Colgate's just running bad or if Colgate's in fact bad. So on Torvik, they'll kind of show a initial ranking and then like week by week. So they've basically fallen in the rankings like every week, which means they're not meeting preseason expectations. So they've actually been a pretty good team to bet against throughout the year, but is this bottom? Like are you buying high? Are you selling low? And it's something to consider. They've certainly had some bad performances, but yeah, it's still a road 8-point spread. You feel pretty good about it on paper, and then you track the game, and it's 11-2 Colgate to start the game. You're like, oh well, lost my 8 points already. Let's hope we can keep her tight the rest of the game. So yeah, I'm on the fence there, but I see some value on the Army side. Detroit, Bob Morris. Detroit is 0-18 on the year. That's why Bob Morris is favored by 3 possessions over Detroit. Detroit's just awful. They've only had 3 games of those 18 losses in single digits. Looking at the matchups for this game, both teams turn it over a lot. Neither really force turnovers. There is a pretty good rebounding edge for Bob Morris. So maybe they get some, close proximity putbacks. But overall, this is going to be a sloppy game. And I don't know. I don't like to lay points, so it's hard for me to lay points with a bad team, even though their opponent is real rough. Tulane UAB. My data has Tulane by about 4 points, and the point spread is UAB favored. But shot quality says, yeah, UAB should be favored from a shot quality perspective, as much as like 2.5, 3 points. What it came down to for me is Tulane plays a lot of zone. I mean, that's what they've done for years. Zone forces teams into shooting. UAB isn't an awful shooting team. So I like to play Tulane against sloppy teams that can't shoot, because Tulane can force turnovers, and then they force you just away from the basket. But when you play zone, you get killed on the glass, and UAB is a glass cleaner. So this isn't new for Tulane. Like, this isn't the only game that Tulane has a bad rebounding matchup. And all this data, they can still be efficient even when getting killed on the glass. But that's just enough for me to be like, okay, this, and this all add up to like, I'll just pass on that one. Nebraska at Rutgers. So Rutgers has stunk offensively, but they still are well coached and have been performing defensively. Nebraska's been kind of a pleasant surprise if you're a fan of Nebraska, but on the road, not the same team. So I'll just kind of pull up Rutgers first. So this is Rutgers at home, 0.866 defense. Overall, their defense is still strong, 0.927. So they're a good defensive team no matter where they play. Defense is traveling for them, but they are even a little stronger at home. So the challenge here is you have Nebraska. They have a lot of green here where their offense will show up, and then they've got some defensive problems. So overall, they're a 117, 102-1. Let's look at them as a home team. As a home team, that's pretty much them. On the road, and this game is at the Rack, that falls off. That offense falls off quite a bit. And this defense is holding its own because of a 4 from 30 3-point performance by K-State. So that's what I reference in the sheet here. I'm just not buying Nebraska on the road at this point. Now, they may chip away at that and get more data, and it kind of normalizes a little bit. We'll see, but I'll let that sort itself out. Other orange game, Mississippi is not highly valued on shot quality. Feel that their wins have been all close and kind of fluky at times. So kind of an inflated record there. UCLA struggles have been well noted. Their offense wasn't much better in their last game. They finally stopped that slide where I thought, Mick Cronin is going to kick everybody off the team. But this is kind of an erratic ASU squad, so I'm not sure about that. Next game, High Point Presbyterian. I'm not sure High Point is good enough defensively to be covering double digits on the road against anybody. And then Virginia Tech, Virginia. So Virginia Tech's profile is they don't force turnovers. They're okay at protecting the ball, but Virginia's been really forcing a lot of turnovers. So it's kind of a concern that the extra possessions are not going to go the way of the Hokies. So even though the data likes that side, that's a little concerning there. So overall, how I would look at this slate is a pool that's probably Army, Bob Morris, Arizona State, and then I played Creighton and the Citadel. Shocker, I played dogs. That's what I do. So that's what I'm looking at. I don't know if I'll play the other three, but this is my pool for Wednesday, January 17th. It is good to be back. Good luck, everybody.